Guys, so currently it's breeding season for a lot of things, especially talking about the reptiles here, like bearded dragons, leopard geckos, all types of lizards, let's just say in general. I've noticed that a lot of people are not feeding let's say, the correct amount of food or the right type of food for most lizards that are available here in the UAE. That includes bearded dragons, leopard geckos, crested geckos, I think a few species of monitors, I believe, and yeah, if I didn't say bearded dragons, and chameleons as well. Forgot to mention that chameleons as well. What most people do is opt either for the easiest option, which is to use mealworms. They are not that, let's say, scary, and they're not that fast and easy to feed. Most of the reptiles accept it, but the issue with mealworms is you can't really feed it every day, and even if you feed it every day, you have to give small amounts every day. It's not really good for the reptiles in the long term just to feed the mealworms, and it's really important to always dust your insects with vitamin D3, calciums, and whatever is required for that reptile. Specific for bearded dragons is the repticalcium and the D3. For chameleons, I believe it's slightly different. For the chameleon repticalcium thingy, it's always important to dust them, and also to make sure that the insects are always gut loaded. As you can see here, these guys are gut loaded. All of my insects, almost all of the time, are always gut loaded. They're full, plump, and ready to feed. So most people opt for this, the mealworms, and again, it's not bad for them if you feed it in the right amount. Doesn't have to be only mealworms. That's what I'm saying. You have to give a small amount of mealworms and a much bigger amount of either baby dubias or red runners. Most people don't like red runners because they run fast and they're similar to crickets in terms of nutrition and behavior, but just most people don't like them. They just look like roaches. But these guys, not that much. You can see these guys are like some small medallions, buttons, or they don't resemble roaches that much. Yeah, they're running away. Excuse me. Sorry. So this is the best food for most of the reptiles. It's roaches. These are Dubia roaches, these are baby Dubia roaches, and you can feed like 80% of Dubia roaches, let's say like 10 Dubia roaches, and 4 mealworms, 2 to 4 mealworms, or maybe even 5, but not more, because these guys the mealworms have a higher chitin content. In the long run, the reptile might have a buildup of chitin and then will not be able to have pooping issues. And also Dubia roaches will provide you, not you of course, but the bearded dragon, the leopard gecko, the crested gecko, the chameleons, a good amount of protein which is easily digestible and has very low chitin content. So it's really important to feed the right food to your pet. In the long run, it's gonna be very helpful. Don't feed just mealworms. Add in dubious, and then once it grows up, you can go for superworms. But again, not that many. A small amount, and then a majority of the portion of its food should be either Dubia roaches, crickets, or red runners, and that way it's really healthy for them. That's pretty much it. Just don't overfeed worms, that's all I'm saying. They have too much fat and chitin content. Superworms, really not that much chitin, but still it's better to feed a controlled portion of worms and a majority portion of roaches, and make sure that all your insects are always dusted with the multivitamin, calciums, and D3. I hope it helps out. I've been noticing just a lot of people feeding the wrong food, and I wanted to make this video. I hope everyone understands, and happy keeping.